the biggest thing with innovation that I've learned is that you just got to do it yourself. That goes on sort of both sides, is that often we sort of wait for other people to come in and help us out. And, you wait and you think that, hey, somebody's going to help. But then you realize over time that nobody's coming, nobody's going to help, and you just got to do it yourself. And then, on the other side, you sort of think like, hey, if I just wait long enough, somebody's going to come help and do something. But that never happens. And then, you just realize that if you don't pick it up and do it yourself, you're never going to get this thing done. Now, if the other thing that is important, why you should actually do it yourself, do things yourself, is that you find all sorts of problems and all sorts of issues when you actually do something, right? Like, you think it's so easy in your head. Everything just seems so easy. And then when you go to do it, you realize that there's so many little steps. And that's the thing that I want everybody to realize, is that, there's a big difference between when somebody says that they're going to do something and actually doing it. There's so many things that go on in between. And whenever you're thinking about innovation or thinking about starting something or whatever, part of it is a little bit of delusion. When you're doing something, you just don't really realize it, right? Like, there's just so many little steps. And you just got to get to the point where you just ignore other people and just keep going, right? Like, I have long been past waiting for other people to get things done, as you realize nobody's coming. And it's, perhaps if you're, I don't like going down this road, but perhaps if I was a different person and, it's like super social and all that kind of stuff, it'd be easy to get things done. I don't even think that's the case, right? Like, I think it is just people are very self-interested in doing their thing, and so you just have to go do it yourself and get it done, whatever that looks like. And then when you get it done, you start looking at all these little tiny steps, and you realize, like, I don't know how I'm going to get it done. I don't know what the little pieces of the puzzle are. What am I supposed to do? All these kind of things. And you realize you just get it done, right? Like, you go through the little steps, and that's it. That's really the process of it, is doing all those little steps and nobody wants to do. And doing those little steps really get you to go from here to there. And it's really important to do all of that kind of stuff. I personally think so, because then you understand all the different nuances. When somebody just says, like, hey, go build an app or whatever, and you go do it, you're like, holy cow, this is actually really hard. Or somebody says, well, just write it up. Well, just go do it. I've said that many times here because it's like hilarious, right? Like, when people say that, well, just write it up. Well, you go write it up and see what happens. It's a far different story. And in my belief that, my belief, it never works out the same way when you think about it compared to when you actually write something up. And I just want to point that out there, is there's a huge difference between saying you're going to do something, actually doing it. There's a huge difference between what it actually looks like when you thought about it at the beginning from what you thought about. And there's a huge difference between, like, what people will say that they're going to do and actually, what they do. Like, there's all these kind of things, right? You have to get through those beliefs and just start doing it, right? Like, in your head, you have all these sort of magical things that are going to happen. It does not happen. I think, the base case scenario, the best thing that you should sort of think is people are going to do nothing, absolutely nothing. And then you work around that. You just kind of do your thing. And if somebody wants to join and be part of something, then that's great, right? I want you to sort of realize that, you know what? You just need to do it. You need to get up, do it yourself, and figure it out. And once you do that, you come to terms with a lot of stuff. And, how many projects I see? So, sometimes students will send me things, or I'll see some things that people are doing. How many half-butt websites there are out there, or things that people just start and quit. Like, that's everything. They'll do about, 2, and then they'll realize it's hard of anything, right? Like, just 1 or 2 things, spend a couple days doing it, realize it's hard, and then quit. That's just like the story, right? And I've been through it so many times, where people do that kind of stuff, and you just gotta be like, okay, we know what's happening, but, if you really want to get something done, you just gotta get it done and do it yourself. And that becomes who you are as you do it. Just keep going and doing things. Get up, do it, and make something of yourself. All right, take care, and have a wonderful day.